The sun was a relentless hammer in the sky, beating down on the endless sea of sand. The air shimmered with heat, and every step felt heavier than the last, as if the desert itself was trying to swallow the travelers whole. For the people of Israel, this was the desert of sin, a place as harsh and unforgiving as its name suggested. Each day stretched endlessly, and hope seemed to dry up as quickly as the morning dew. The joy of their escape from Egypt had faded, replaced by gnawing hunger and the ache of uncertainty. The songs of freedom were now just faint memories, drowned out by the rumble of empty stomachs. Water skins were nearly empty, and every drop was precious. Lips cracked and throats burned as the people searched desperately for relief. The last of their dough was gone, and the meager supplies they carried seemed to vanish before their eyes. Hunger gnawed at them, a constant companion in the wilderness. Only the hollow sound of their stomachs echoed in the wilderness, a reminder of how alone and vulnerable they truly were.
Caleb kicked a stone, remembering stories of a powerful God who split the sea and brought plagues upon Egypt. He wondered if those miracles were just stories, or if that same power could reach them here. Now there was only dust and heat, stretching as far as the eye could see. The silence was broken only by the wind and the quiet sighs of the weary.
The promises of a land flowing with milk and honey seemed like a cruel joke, a distant dream that faded with every parched sunrise. Doubt crept in, whispering that maybe freedom was just another word for wandering.
Whispers of discontent grew into a loud, angry chorus. Frustration boiled over as the people questioned their leaders and their faith, searching for someone to blame. "Was it for this we were freed?" one man grumbled, his voice echoing the doubts in many hearts. The sense of betrayal was as sharp as the hunger in their bellies. It's easy to have faith when your belly is full, when the fire is warm and the night is calm. But in the desert, faith is tested with every step.
We look at our problems, our own deserts, and they seem so big, so impossible to cross. The obstacles loom large, and the way forward is hidden by uncertainty. We forget past victories, the times God has shown up before, and how we made it through when hope seemed lost. Memory fades in the heat of the moment.
The grumbling starts in our hearts, drowning out our faith, until all we hear is the empty echo of our own doubts in the vastness of the desert. The anger found a target. Moses and Aaron, a crowd formed around their tent, faces twisted with fury.
An elder named Eliab pointed at Moses, accusing him of leading them to a slow death.
Moses stood tall, seeing their fear and pain.
Aaron remembered the plagues, the power of God. They wanted comfort and certainty now.
"Would it not have been better to have died in Egypt?" a woman cried. They blamed Moses and Aaron, forgetting it was God who led them.
How often do we do the same? Blame is easier than looking inside our own hearts.
Blame is a shield that blocks out the help we need.
Moses listened to their anger, letting their frustration fill the air before he spoke. He didn't react with irritation or fear, but with a calm strength that steadied the people around him. His voice was gentle, yet carried the weight of wisdom and experience. "Your grumbling is not against us, but against the Lord," he reminded them, shifting their focus from human leaders to the one who truly guided them.
The people shifted uncomfortably, realizing their disappointment wasn't just with their circumstances, but with God himself. Their complaints revealed a deeper struggle, a longing for security, for certainty, for something more than just food.
Moses continued, "The Lord has heard your complaints." He wanted them to know that God was not distant or indifferent, but attentive to every cry and every need. "This evening you will eat meat, and in the morning you will be filled with bread," he promised. It was a declaration that their needs would be met, even in the most unlikely place.
A murmur rippled through the crowd. Meat? Bread? Out here in the wilderness, where nothing grew and hope seemed scarce? The promise sounded impossible, yet it sparked a flicker of hope.
They were offered a solution, a direct answer to their cries. Relief and wonder mingled in their eyes as they realized they were not forgotten.
It was a rhythm of grace, a daily reminder that God's care was constant, not just a one-time miracle. Each morning, as bread appeared, it was a daily demonstration of his faithfulness, a tangible sign that he would provide again and again. God was teaching them to depend on him continuously, to trust that he would meet their needs even when the way forward seemed uncertain. This is how God often works in our lives, meeting us in our need, inviting us to trust before we see the answer. We cry out with a big need, and sometimes his answer is just as big. arriving in ways we never expected. He promises to meet the very need causing us pain, offering comfort and hope in the midst of our struggles. The question is whether we will believe the promise before we see the proof, whether we will trust that God is working, even when we cannot yet see the outcome. The next morning, the ground was covered with a thin, flaky substance. It looked like a layer of tiny white seeds.
What is it?
It was a complete mystery.
It is the bread the Lord has given you to eat.
The people tasted it. It was sweet, like honey. The hunger of yesterday was forgotten, replaced by the sweet taste of God's provision. They called it manna, a reminder of the miracle.
God's provision often comes in unexpected ways. We pray for a solution, expecting a loaf of bread we recognize. But sometimes, God gives us manna. Our job is not to understand it, but to receive it, to taste it, and see that the Lord is good, even when His gifts come in unfamiliar packages.
The Lord has commanded this. Gather as much as you need.
An omer was just enough for one person for one day. God was teaching them to trust Him for their daily needs. This was a radical idea for people who had known scarcity.
Only one omer? What if there is none tomorrow?
This is the conversation between faith and fear in our hearts. God's command to trust often seems illogical. We live in a world that screams, get more, save more. But God's economy is different. He invites us into a relationship of daily dependence. He wants us to come to Him each morning for our daily bread. He is testing our hearts to see if we will trust His provision more than our own planning. Despite Moses' instructions, some people let fear win. They gathered more manna than needed, hiding it in their tents. But by morning, it was crawling with maggots, a rotten mess. Their clever plan had spoiled. God had made His point. His provision was fresh for today only. The people who trusted woke up to fresh manna.
Moses was angry with those who disobeyed. They still carried the mindset of Egypt, a mindset of self-reliance.
This is a powerful picture of what happens when we try to hoard God's grace. We can't stockpile it. We must come to God each day for a fresh supply. Trying to live on old manna leads to decay. Trust must be renewed every single morning. Life in the desert settled into a new pattern, a rhythm shaped not by abundance but by daily dependence. Each sunrise and sunset brought its own quiet miracle, weaving a tapestry of trust and provision. Every evening, quail descended upon the camp, their wings fluttering softly in the twilight. And every morning, as the first light touched the sand, manna covered the ground like a gentle promise, waiting to be gathered. The people learned the rhythm of God's faithfulness, a cadence that echoed through their routines. Each day they woke to new mercies, learning to trust that what they needed would be there. They gathered just enough for the day, never more, never less. On the sixth day, a double portion appeared, a sign to rest and remember the giver. Scarcity was replaced by sufficiency and anxiety by assurance. It was a weekly, daily lesson in trust, a gentle invitation to let go of control and embrace the unknown with open hands. This daily provision changed them. It shaped their hearts, teaching them gratitude for small things and joy in simple routines. The children woke with anticipation, their eyes bright with the certainty that food would be there. Each morning became a celebration of hope fulfilled. The parents learned to release their anxiety about tomorrow, breathing easier as they saw provision arrive day after day. Worry gave way to peace, and fear to quiet confidence.
This story is our story too. Across generations and cultures, we all long for certainty, for assurance that our needs will be met. We all have deserts we are walking through, seasons of uncertainty, times when the path ahead seems dry and endless. We want a 5-year plan from God, a map with every turn marked. But more often, He only gives us enough light for the next step, inviting us to trust Him moment by moment.
The lesson of the manna is the heartbeat of faith, a steady reminder that we are held, even when we cannot see the whole journey. We are invited to live in moment-by-moment dependence on a God who is utterly dependable, whose love never fails, and whose provision never runs dry. He knows what we need before we even ask, understanding our hearts and our hopes more deeply than we do ourselves. He asks us to let go of our fear of tomorrow and receive His gifts today, to open our hands and hearts to the grace that meets us right where we are. The journey of faith is a daily walk of trust, a path made by taking one step at a time, guided by hope and sustained by love. God provides daily. Trust Him one day at a time and discover the rhythm of grace that carries you through every season.